couple of years ago we decided that we were wasting a lot of rainwater. We were using water from the taps to water the garden, which is not economical and not so good for the garden. So we decided to get some IBCs, which are just about the cheapest way of storing water. Now if we just have a look at one of these IBCs here, in fact you'll see 4 of them all together. These IBCs come from different places and you can pay quite a lot of money if you have them delivered, or if you happen to hire a van you can go and get them maybe a bit cheaper. Sometimes people actually give them away. When you get the IBCs you have to be a bit careful. You have to find out what's been in them in the first place. So it could be that they've had chemicals in them. That's not a problem so long as you actually go on the internet and find out how to neutralise those chemicals. So that's what we did, and of course we cleaned them out very thoroughly and made sure that there was no residue whatsoever. So we started off with one, and as you can see from the guttering system, the water from the garage comes down through and into one of the IBCs at the bottom. And actually you should be able to see that the water from the shed goes into that same IBC. So there's quite a lot of water going into that. And what I've then done is I've actually got some connecting pieces, had to drill some holes in the sides of the IBCs. I'd have liked to have done those nearer the bottom, but you have to reach your hand inside the IBC and you can't reach down to the bottom. So you get those connectors from the internet, just Google connecting kit and that will do the job. So those 4 are all connected together, so once the first one is filled it will then flow into the others. And so we've got 4 of these IBCs, each with 1,000 litres of water in them. Now I use a pump, which is just a garden pump, and basically it's a hose-lock pump plugged into the electricity obviously. And you might think it's a bit Heath Robinson, so I've got a pipe going here and that goes all the way down to another pipe which is just concealed behind one of our bins here. And this pipe, I used some old water pipe that I'd got, and that goes right the way up the garden, and we'll probably have a look at that a bit later. But essentially that goes to some hose pipes which then reach every part of the garden. So if we come back and have a look at the pump again, the end of the pump I've actually attached to it, could be a bit of wood, but this happens to be an axe that broke, just to make sure that when I put that into the IBC, then the pump end, or the end of the hose, goes down to the bottom. And so now when I pump water out of this IBC, it will go along that pipe and then right up the garden. At the back of the garage, if we come and have a look here, what I've done is I've put another 4 IBCs, and these IBCs are also connected to some water butts that I had left over. So these are just 3 200 litre water butts, and so water flows into this IBC and then into these 3 IBCs. Now in the winter with these IBCs, if we come and have a closer look, the water which would flow down this pipe and go into the IBC, I've disconnected that so that the water will just run away and just like rainwater, it'll disappear into the ground, because I didn't want it to go to the final IBC and then out into my wood pile which I've got there. So you have to think through where the water is going to go in the winter. So that's how the IBC system works. So essentially we've got 8 of these 1,000 litre IBCs plus a few water butts, and there are also some water butts around the house which have 200, same as these, 200 litre water butts. I think we've got probably 4 of those around the house. So we've got quite a bit of water stored up to be able to use on the garden in the summer, and in the drought periods that's going to be very useful. So that's what we did.